and nobody's here.
Hey, we got one person. Hey,
One person.
welcome.
Hey, one person.
Welcome,
Awesome.
everyone. Everyone.
Everyone. Yeah, everyone.
All one of you.
All. Let's see here. What was I gonna do? Where did that picture go to? Oh, there it is.
Oh, Randall, welcome.
Randall is our Randall. This show solely for you this week.
What do you want to talk about, Randall?
Any
It's all you
questions?
tonight. Our special guest.
I'll say, did we not have? Did we not get like posting up today? Let's say, did it not show
So,
up?
Sean, what have you been up to, man?
Let's see. I've been working on the building the box art test shot of the Mobius 71 long bed 4x4 custom. It's actually I painted.
Oh, the Yeehaw truck.
Yeah, so I painted some parts.
Ooh,
That's what the box art colors will be.
nice.
So it'll look like that. So putting that together. This one's the one that has all the custom lift, high lift suspension, and the custom wheels, roll bars, steel bumpers, winch, that stuff.
The gun rack, right?
It has gun rack, yes. all of our
The selling point.
NRA enthusiasts will. It actually comes with 2 scale guns. There's a long range rifle and a shotgun.
Rock on. That's what you need in the modeling community.
Yeah, let's say, and we've just been banned from YouTube. No, it's interesting to see that finally come around because that was a test shot 4 years ago. So, I mean, that was a test shot in Vegas at Nats, and I think there was no NNL East that year, but the following NNL East it was there too. Back when the tow truck was just CAD images on a piece of paper, so it's very amusing that truck is coming after, theoretically speaking, after at least one of the piece of paper drawings. Makes sense to somebody.
That has a lot to do with like a production schedule. I mean, they're not pumping these out for Walmart like some of the larger companies are. So they'll wait until one of the other versions of the kit is mostly sold or completed, and then then they'll run the next version, and then it has to line up with they'll buy a shipping container worth of product, so they've got to fill that container, and so they've got to arrange other things, and so there's a lot of different factors that goes into when a kit goes into production, not necessarily just when it gets tooled. They've tooled things and it will sit for a number of years before whatever actually gets released.
Right.
Yeah. I guess that the Mercury pickup is hit the streets these days too.
Yeah, it's out. Yeah. Which is another great example. That just sort of showed up out of the middle of nowhere. I mean, granted, it's only a couple of pieces of tooling involved there: tailgate, hood, and emblems. Plus, they've from talking to Eric. Oh God, I can't remember how he pronounces his last name, but he's one of the Mobius guys. He said that they've actually taken the wheels, because so if that Mercury comes with those new set of hubcaps that are the actual right hubcaps for a quarter or half-ton pickup truck, and he said they modified the tooling so that those will come from now on in every F-Series truck, and that the other ones just are gone now.
I didn't know that. Huh,
so if you want the old hubcaps, I guess go buy, stock up now on the other 14 options you have, and going forwards. I'm like, okay, so the Mercury maybe that one that you're working on, like what other, I guess they reissue them, so whenever they need to rerun one, it'll have the new hubcaps. They'll sell a bunch just for those hubcaps if they don't sell those hubcaps separately.
Right. I think that the Mercury Kit is the first one that has the 67 grill in it as well.
Mm-hmm. So,
that's all in the piece.
Good times, good times. Speaking of Mr. Svensson here and his projects, whoops, hang on. Where are we at? This drawing got an amusing amount of feedback. Unfortunately, not all of it was exactly what I would consider to be positive, but we did the drawing for the 70 Monte Carlo lowrider here.
I did. Yep, that was a recent. That just got recently reissued, and it was announced this month. I did that a couple months ago. Let's see. That was probably around Christmas time. I think I did that artwork. So yeah.
And it's taken all the way to August to get the kit out.
And then let's see. So that was part of it. That was actually the first one that I did of that series. I think I'm trying to think of that, if it was that one or another one. So they have a new series of kits that they're doing, like custom cars and what's it called? Custom cruisers, I believe, is the series.
Yeah.
And they are, kits with custom parts, and they wanted the illustrations done in front of a real life setting. And let's see, I guess this is the second one that I did. So the first one I did was the 58, was it 58 Chrysler 300 custom? Yeah, I think so. And then that one was actually a fictional drive-in restaurant that I did. And then for this one, they specifically wanted it in front of the Pink Motel, which I guess is a real place. I'm not familiar with it, but they sent me photographs of this Pink Motel, and I think it's in California, maybe. I'm not sure.
Yes. Yeah, it's in LA.
Yeah, so they wanted to replicate that. And then I recently did, I didn't post it on my Instagram or my Facebook or Instagram yet, but I saw that Round 2 released the 57 Chevy of the series as well. So that
the Street Machine one, right?
Yeah, and it's in front of a real life drive-in theater or drive-in movie theater.
Okay.
I don't remember the name of the theater, but so it's kind of fun. I don't typically do, background settings like that, but that was something that they wanted to do, and so it was kind of a neat challenge to try to replicate a real building. But I like doing night scenes. Night scenes are always fun because then I can illuminate the headlights and the
lights,
tail lights, and try to get more sort of an atmospheric effect.
Let's say Frank saying that he likes it. The tractors have no taste. Well, it wasn't that people didn't want a lowrider. It was the fact that people seem to be confused as to the fact that the lowrider kit, it's not that it's its own thing, but like it only comes that way. Like you can't build a factory stock car out of that kit. Ergo, you also can't build a lowrider out of the factory stock kit. These things that Sean's talking about, they're all the B side of the Mueller era kits that had a custom version added to them. The 57 Chevy, the 57 Chrysler, this Monte Carlo, the Apache pickup truck. I think there's a couple of other ones in there that
the Pontiac.
And and the thing is, like, these kits haven't been out, some of them, actually most of them, since they were run that first time. A couple of them got RC2 era reissues in the mid 2000s, but like the last time this Monte Carlo has been on shelves was 22 years ago. I think that's enough time for between reissues. People are like, wow, you can get them anywhere. Yeah, in round 2.
Oh yeah.
But being round two hasn't made a penny on this. I mean, 23 years ago, 22 years ago, that's 10 years before they even bought the company. So like round two doesn't round two wants their cash out of this. And it'll sell. They'll sell a whole pile of these again because it's been 22 years. If you don't go to model shows or buy stuff on eBay, you've never seen this kit. This
Right.
kit's old enough to drink, you know. It's
and it never had this cool box art, right? So
yeah, exactly.
Got that right.
Exactly.
some people buy kits just for the art itself.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is like let's see, there we go. Let's see, that is it's based out in LA, and a bunch of the comments that you did get on your Facebook about this were the fact that it was posed in front of this hotel, and everybody appreciated the connection to the lowriding scene out in LA. So yeah, I like it. I don't have any issues with it. I mean, I won't buy the kit because I don't need a lowrider for anything, but it's the entire was it the I guess it would be August, which will technically be September's kits because round two's little preview of coming attractions videos are always a month in advance. But like everybody on that was there's 5 kits coming out in September, and every single one of them has never been issued by round two itself. They're all old enough that they fell in before they bought the company, and you know people screaming and yelling, "Wow, we have enough of these kits." You could find them in the secondary resale market for sure, but round two has never had them on the shelf before. So, except the fact that that's the target audience is not the guy who has 10 of them already. It's for the new people.
Right. They have none.
I mean, you figured 20 years ago. I mean, that's literally a generation of builders ago.
Yeah, that's a particularly nice kit too. I mean, I have. They sent me test shots of them, and I was really looking over the parts. I'm like, oh, this is really.
It's
That's one of
Mueller
the
era.
Yes.
Mueller era kits, I think. I feel like they
it's-
really nailed the body proportions on that one too. It looks really good.
The body's really good. It's got its own. It has a separate frame from the chassis, which a couple of those did.
Yeah, if I remember right, the frame to chassis was a little tough to do, if I remember right. I haven't built it in a long time, but I seem to remember having to pin that one.
Yeah, I've not built one either. Just looked over the parts, but it's on my list.
Mr. Chester, other than your lack of electric motivation up there, what's been going on in your world for the last 2 weeks?
Well, since last episode, I got a new printer, new 3D printer, and I've just been going hog wild printing everything. So yeah, having a lot of fun. I'm going to do a video of some of the designers that I like to purchase files from, kind of give people an idea of what's good. You know, I mean, there's a lot of good designers out there, but I have my favorites, and so I'll sort of pass on my favorites to the audience.
That'd be interesting. I'd love to see a video on the process of like, where do you go to get a file and what do you have to do, to print a
Okay.
file.
Okay. All right. I'll keep that in mind when I put the video together.
Yeah.
We want to build video of James Tester doing a 69 Polaris station wagon. Just because I noticed that was the latest. I say I haven't printed anything. Obviously, I don't have a printer, but seems to be one of the best designers out there in terms of getting an actual kit out of your printer rather than just being a big block of resin or something like that. Did a 69 Polara coupe, which is like a 69 Impala, like base car, a huge thing with a big motor, and it was a very odd sort of muscle car in the era. And I was sitting there in the back of my mind going, he needs to do a sedan because the 69 Polaris sedan is one of those classic police cars. It was literally the fastest police car made until the 96 Corvette powered Caprice came around. And then he did a station wagon, and I was like, there we go. We'll have the coupe made you make faces. I think you need to build the station wagon.
I was looking at that thing. I was like, I have a 10-inch screen now, but I'm sure I would have at least a 35-degree angle just to fit it on the build plate, I think. It's a huge car.
Hmm. I
Probably
saw
take
pictures of
15
that
to 20 hours.
I saw pictures of that on Facebook. Who's the maker of those models? Or
Andre
design?
Bedrozny? Bezrodny? I'm sure I'm butchering it, but yeah, Andre.
I saw that he has a series of like a whole series of like there's some trucks and some other stuff that look pretty good.
He's got like 300 designs
Wow.
for sale, and they're all kits. You know, so you get a flat chassis, basically wheels, interior, and a body, and the windows that you can vacuum form. So yeah, he gives you the whole kit, which I prefer to buy a kit versus just buying an engine or just buying a chassis, or I just like to get a whole kit.
So then
For $10.
wow, $10 for the file. And what do you have to do to the file then in order to print it?
You have to load it into what's called a slicer program, and what it does is it slices and dices like you'd cut a cucumber or something. It cuts it into layers so that the printer knows on layer 1 I'm going to print this, on layer 2 I'm going to print this, and it builds up to 2,000 layers of what you're trying to print. But the slicer program separates it out line by line for you.
Okay. And then do you have to
So
what program do you use to do that, and what's that called? Does it come with your
Cheat2 box. No, it's a free program called Cheat2 box is the one I like to use. There's others, but that's the one that I like to use. You have to load your say your body into the program, and then you put it at an angle and a tilt so that there's no surfaces that are parallel or perpendicular to the build plate, and that way you would reduce the lines, the print lines. And so then you have to support it. So then you go over to the support section, and I just do auto supports, and I just let the computer figure out where's the most likely place to put a support. And it puts, a million supports underneath it in, varying interlocking ways. And it, kind of lifts it up a little bit and makes supports for it. And then you put it through what the slice, and you slice it all up to the however many lines it's going to take. And then you export that onto a USB drive, plug the USB drive into the printer, and just print.
Yeah, I'd love to see a video that kind of sort of walks through that process of how to do that.
I will do that.
Yeah, cool.
The guy's got a lot of my money in future earnings if I would ever buy a printer, because he's got quite a few things on there that just tickle my fancy the right way. It's
Yeah,
would I ever build any of those either? Probably not, but
yeah, he had a lot of unique
$10,
and they look really well done. I mean, they look pretty accurate.
Yeah. I think normal price is 20, but every once in a while they'll do a sale on some of the design websites. It's 50% off, and you just go crazy and buy anything you ever wanted for $10 a piece. And you store files instead of model boxes,
Then do you have to scale it to like
No,
124?
no, it's already scaled for you.
Okay.
Usually Andre will give you 1/32 through 1/8. He'll scale them for you, and you just pick the file that you want. And I'll if it's a sports car or something, I'll do it in 24th scale. But if it's like a muscle car or something, I'll do it in 25th scale, because sort of match what you already have.
Amazing.
Or like the Dodge Ram TRX, that thing is humongous in 24 scale. So you scale it down to 25th, and it'll be a little more reasonable to work with.
Only slightly less humongous.
Yeah, yeah. I have that Hoonigan Baja truck for you.
Oh,
I
nice.
printed that in 24th scale, so I'll get that to you.
Awesome.
So you can
look
do
at it.
your
It's
Baja
really
thing.
I saw he had I mean, I have a fetish for international trucks since I grew up in Springfield, Ohio, and they had a truck plant there. And I saw that this guy has a lot of international.
Do you want the travel all panel, or do you want the travel all with the windows?
Yeah, the one with the windows is cool.
I just because I like the wheels of these. I know the same set of wheels. I want to get these Ram Chargers. This one probably not because it's too close to the 81 kit, but these two, especially the 73, I like that the grill that's on that. But I mean, it's just it's say this is the Mercedes. But,
I have all three of those.
Yeah, and then you printed this wagon too, I think, right?
I haven't printed it yet, but I have the files for it.
Okay.
I printed both of those Ferraris.
I know you printed both the Ferraris, and like I know that this pickup truck's like, yeah, whatever. But you throw these I know they're called Daytona rims as far as the ones that Aoshima sells as aftermarket rims. That's not the name of them, but like these blacked out rims do things for me for some reason. So like, yeah, like if you just start scrolling through it, like, okay, money. I don't need some Torinos. There's some more internationals for Sean. I don't know why he didn't do a hearse out of this, but
Yeah,
whatever.
The Phantom Cadillac Fleetwood wagon's pretty cool.
I have that Porsche, the GT3.
Yeah, he's got a lot of.
But yeah, it's quite a few.
And he puts them out like
designs.
I swear, every 2 weeks he's coming out with a new design, which is crazy because, I can't help myself sometimes.
Well, what I want to ask you, James, is about this 3D printer, since you've now sort of been force upgraded by your old one conking out. Do you notice a difference between the resolution of the 4K and the 8K?
Big time. Yeah, the 4K looks bloated compared to the crispness of the 12. I mean, I've printed the same things side by side, and when you look at it, you're just like, that is so much more crisp in 12 than 4.
Oh, you went all this way to 12K?
Yeah, I went to 12.
Oh, okay. I thought you only went to 8 on that. All right, so yeah. Right.
No, I went to 12.
Oh.
So I'm looking for something super duper detailed now. I may do one of the engines or something that has every little nut and bolt on it. Print that out.
Have you seen the stuff that is a Motoboss guy does?
Yeah, that's exactly who I was talking about. Yeah, there's a designer, Motoboss, that does extremely detailed engines that you can scale out to 24th or 25th scale, and they're very impressive looking. Iceman's been selling them for years, and that's what he sells.
Interesting.
Yeah, let me get over here.
It's kind of like your best of show looking, models. That's what they have in them.
Yeah. Does anybody make a aerial atom?
Yes.
I'm gonna say yes. One exists. I can't think of who makes it, but yeah.
I think that Olive Vizzle does it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
The same guy that I did my Morgan 3-wheeler. He did the aerial atom too.
I've always loved those cars. I think they're really neat.
Yeah, so Motoboss does some.
Wow. So yeah,
some great engines. Yeah.
300 straight 6, 427 with injection, 427 with ITBs instead of fuel injection. Got a whole gearbox for the back end of a the 427 that goes in the Ford GT. It's like it's just say, oh, you want a single body Carter carburetor? Yeah, sure, okay, yeah, got that in like 18 pieces.
Yeah, I mean, 3D printing, you can just do stuff with 3D printing that'd be almost impossible to mold because you don't have to worry about draft directions, and you can design in negative.
And your headers print round, and there's no parting line in them.
Right.
Just a bunch of exhaust muffler connections. Yeah.
I need to spend more time looking at that stuff.
It's addicting. Be careful.
Right.
Be careful.
Now, did you say you also went to a model contest this weekend?
Yeah, there was a hobby shop down in Massillon. It was their first show, and they decided to do like a best of, People's Choice, best of Cars, Gundam, and military. And so there was probably I don't know, 40 cars maybe there. I had to leave early, so I was kind of out of the running. But Steve Courtney was there. Steve Courtney's in the audience there today, but he was there with a couple of his cars. Not sure who won. Wasn't me.
Nobody sent you a award in the mail?
No, not this time.
All right.
But yeah, I haven't been to a show since, God, I don't know, a couple months.
Well,
maybe East.
Pittsburgh's coming up at the end of the next month. Are we coming to Pittsburgh?
Yeah. Were you going to go to the, what is it, Y City the day before?
It got moved. There was some sort of conflict with their venue, and I think it got moved to the 8th of October, I think it is. It might be another day in October. I haven't remember what the might be the 5th of October or the 12th of October. It got moved for some reason. It should have been the day before, but yeah, it got moved.
Our show is October 12th in Akron, Copley. So that would be a bad mistake for them to run it on the same day.
Yeah, let me see if I can talk amongst yourself. But I just remember that that is a show that I normally go to. I usually take the Saturday off and do a 2 for that weekend, but I didn't have to do that this year because they were supposed to be doing it in like a theater downtown Zanesville, and it had been everywhere and in between. I think it was in a theater last year too, but yeah, October 5th. Yeah, that's what's going to be. It got moved to this weekend here. Let's zoom in here. So,
Steve, I did not win best sports car. I don't know who did, but I didn't.
But yeah, so that's October 5th. Looks like theme class is the Bronco there. So best of luck to those guys. I won't be there because again they moved it, and I can't take I'm going to take the day off to come up to Akron on the 12th, and so I can't take 2 weekends off in a row. So that isn't going to work. But yeah, it's the
Sean, you'll make it, right?
Yeah, keep reminding me about that because I'll forget. But I would like to come.
But the Sunday, the 29th of September, is Three Rivers Auto Modelers, which is our local show here in Pittsburgh, and it's a field trip Mr. Tester seems to take every year for some reason. He's just a glutton for punishment.
Yeah, I haven't been to the Three Rivers show in many, many, many years. Actually, I was a member of that club for a brief amount of time. I lived in Pittsburgh for about 6 months, and I was part of that club when I lived there.
That's because one of the things that was in the title here is it's the fall show season. Because if you started, and this is just locally to here, you have like PennCon, which is a IPMS show that's out in Carlisle, PA, which is 3 hours from me. and that's the 14th of September, I think. And then the 21st of September is the Shenango Valley IP Met show up in Mercer, or Hermitage, Sharon, whatever they want to call it. And then you would have two shows. One got moved, we just talked about, but you usually have two shows at the end of September, and then there's all through October and all through to the beginning of November. So I've been trying to post on our Facebook page the show flyers far enough ahead in advance so that people can actually see them and go with them and see what they want to do. But I know we have your show, and then the next 2 Sundays after that, I have local shows here, and then the weekend after that is Cleveland. So, assuming that that Kirtland has power, then.
Oh yeah. Steve Courtney asks, "What's the theme for Three Rivers show?"
You know what, Steve? I gotta look that up on my phone because I don't have that flyer loaded onto my computer, but. It's gonna, of course, be somewhere deep in the phone where no one's gonna ever see it. I say in the weekend before all that stuff is the Erie show on Sunday, September 6th. So I could theoretically, if I wanted to take the time off, because I can't, but if I could go to model shows pretty much every weekend from the beginning of September through the beginning of November. And it's more than likely the same way for most people. It's just that busy time of year.
I guarantee that the theme is not AMG GT3s with anime decals on them. That's for sure.
The special theme for the 2024 Three Rivers Auto Modeler show appears to be Surfs Up, which for some reason I can't make this picture any bigger as to what that's supposed to be. It's wagons and related to the beach, or anything related to the beach, excuse me. So not even wagons. So that's going to be a... Who came up with that? That's going to be a dud of a category. All right, guys. Time to get out your surf rods and your dune buggies. And, I mean, you're kind of running out of things after that, right? You have your surfboard themed things, and then your Meyer Manxes. Somebody at the IPMS Nationals in Madison actually built that AMT little 6-wheel ATV thing. It was on like Space 1999, but it was based on the real Amphicat. They actually built the thing as the Amphicat, as the factory stock version of it, and tried to put it into, I think, curbside or something like that. But I was like, well, it is automotive. It belongs more in like the catch-all miscellaneous category that is automotive culture and design. But all right, whatever. That's beach related, I guess.
That's an interesting question. What's a great theme for a model show? What are the best themes?
When we ran South Hills, the show it was in Pittsburgh in March, I always used to say, if a theme can't be anything that takes away from the classes you already have established, because people are always like, customs. Well, I have a customs class, so we're just not gonna have a customs class, or we're just having a customs class. Like that's a class that already exists. I said it was the years ones are always good because you could do anything that was anything. In 2008 we did anything that ends in 8, so that's 18, 28, 38, 48, obviously, and the anniversaries are always good, right? So the 60th anniversary of this or the 20th anniversary of that, and usually those cars are Mustangs or GTOs or whatever, and so that's a big enough base that you could build a 64 GTO. You could build what was that AMT one? An 05, I think it was, the Holden based one. So there's a variety in there, and you could build that GTO any way you wanted to. But
even the Monkey Mobile, right?
Yeah, it's when you get into like weirdly specific things like that. Like, okay, so surf themed, it's wagons, kind of, sorta, and the Meyer Manxes, obviously, and then I'm at a loss. I mean, anything can have a surfboard thrown into it, so technically, I guess it's not really that bad a theme. But
I guess Woodies, but that's sort of
Woodies.
Have lifeguard Jeeps.
Say many 1/20 scale Baywatch Toyotas are on the table,
right?
Because like that 37 Ford pickup that got reissued, that was just reissued with that sort of surfy theme. You know, it came with a surfboard and it sort of got that beach hut box art to it. So I guess, but I think that was reissued after that show theme was decided. So let's say it's 2024. So what is it? It's the 60th anniversary of the Mustang was the one for a lot of people this year.
Oh yeah,
or pony cars. Last year, it was a lot of Corvette themes because it was the 60th or whatever the anniversary of the Corvette in 2023. So things like that always seem to work out well because as long as you don't put a restriction on it, you could build a Corvette anyway. I mean, it's boring, but like drag cars, customs, you could build the Corvette Summer if you wanted to. You know, and you could build anything from 53 to you couldn't build a 23 until recently, but you know, it was a wide variety at least. So, okay, put people chipping in the comments here. Super September Showdown in Boyerstown, PA, September 8th. Detroit was November 9th. Is it 9th?
That's a good show.
Yeah.
I like Detroit.
Yeah, that's a wee bit out of, even if I was off on the weekend, it's a little bit out of the travel range. That's about 5 hours one way, but
oh yeah.
Back when I lived in Cleveland, I could say Cleveland, that's all right around the corner of the lake kind of travel. So
yeah, it's 3 hours for me.
So breaking news as of this morning, and I know YouTube just gonna be so excited about this, but I care. So this kit is finally released this morning. So
Woo!
This is the Porsche 911 RSR 2018. Was a GTE class, so it was the IMSA car in the car that ran at Le Mans, basically. It's 4 years late and 6 years out of date at this point, but finally, this needs the old lady from Titanic. It's been 84 years meme with it. But
and who makes that? New?
Yeah, so that's new. That's the guys that do pretty much all the race cars right now, other than, well, technically speaking, I guess Belkits does them, but those are only rally cars.
Well, I'm not familiar with New. Is that? I've never heard of those guys.
Well, they're the ones that did the stack all these BMWs and Chevy Cruises.
They're nice kits, Sean.
Yeah.
They're curbside, but they have nice detail, like nice detailed interiors. The bodies are real nice. Stance looks good right out of the box. And they usually come with.
I was gonna say I haven't seen those at my Walmart, so I guess I should get out more.
Yeah,
huh? Broaden my horizons.
Yeah.
Let's say that kit is out now. So now all the golf liveried Porsche and the Bamos car that sort of an old throwback to an IMSA, the throwback to the Rothmans 956. Finally, decals. Not that I'll build them, but at least the decals go to something now.
Oh, you've had the decals for.
Well, yeah, Frankie put the decals out. Yeah, Frankie put the decals out last month, so it
okay.
You ended up buying some decals for something that technically didn't exist. And then breaking everything. This kit got released recently as well, which another BMW. This actually, I know there's like 3 people in the audience that don't care. This is actually the old Dragon kit. Back in the mid to the end of the 90s, Dragon, the company that makes all the military crap, had a series of the E36, 3 Series BMWs. It's a 316 compact, which is that goofy one that has like a hatchback on it, a regular M3, and then a 320, which was the 4-door sedan. And they did factory street cars for them, and then they did race cars, actually for all of them. And so this kit was announced. It was like, oh, hey, you're going to do this. And you're like, okay, so it's a 96 320. I guess, okay, fine. And the debate was like, what was this kit going to be? Because there was like no literature about it. Nothing was said about, hey, we're going to release this kit. Like, for a new tool kit, this is getting no publicity whatsoever. And then a couple people got it and said, I think this is the Dragon kit. And I got mine, and I have an old Dragon kit of it, and it's exactly carbon copy of it. They've gone through and they've tweaked a little things with it, and they've put their branding over top of the old Dragon branding everywhere on every sprue. So they clearly have bought this tooling or acquired it in some form or fashion. So it solves I know it's a small mystery that nobody really, there are only a few people who actually ever cared about, but like that tooling disappeared. The last time it was run was 1999, and both Dragon and Revell, because Revell was reboxing it, ran that kit that year, and then it just off into the ether, and it became one of those things of like, wonder where that tooling ever went. Wonder whatever happened to that. And I guess it sat in a warehouse that's covered in cosmoline in Hong Kong for the last 20 years, and somehow BMAX Nunu a little bit now. And sitting down with the 318 kit that Hasegawa did, they're not the same exact kit, but whoever designed them both. Like, there's the chassis and the Dragon kit's in two pieces because it was designed to fit either the small 2-door or the larger 4-door. And when Hasegawa tooled their kit, they tooled that chassis in one piece with the fuel tank attached to it. And I don't know, but otherwise they're identical, like the exact same tooling marks, everything. So again, I'm trying not to go off on a tangent that's going to bore you two to sleep along with the 10 poor people that decided to tune in tonight. But it's just very interesting to see that just sort of rise up out of the sea, so to speak, of like obscurity. Where'd that tooling go? Where's it been at? Who had it? Now Dragon started producing kits again. They've been very quiet since about 2016, just doing reissues. And then I wonder if somebody went through the warehouse, sort of the way Round 2 did when they sold a bunch of the stuff off to Atlantis that they didn't want anymore. And they were like, the hell's this BMW? Who tooled this? Why did we make this? Get rid of this. Get it out of the... BMAX was down the street.
Now,
we'll
who tooled that BMW 8 Series that you have the coupe and the convertible for?
That was Revell Germany.
Oh, Revell Germany tooled it.
Yeah,
okay.
That's Revell Germany's tooling. They sent the 3 Series and the 850 to Tamiya. Tamiya put their own tires in it and their own decals and their own instructions and released it as a Tamiya kit. But those are Revell Germany basing tools.
I've always had a soft spot.
Where did those tools go? Because they haven't been seen for about 30 years either.
I've always had a soft spot for the squared off 80s BMWs, like the 318, 335, the convertibles, most especially. But I don't think we'll ever see kits of those. I'll probably resin print it before I ever see a kit of it.
Talk to Andrew, see if he can get you a design of it.
I've already put a couple bugs in his ear about stuff that I'd like to see, like 2018 Dodge Demon and BMW M2, but the new 2024 M2. I'd like to see that too.
Did you see? Speaking of Dodges, did you see like the kid that did the Tucker, the Red Wheels guy in Ukraine, did an upgrade set for the Fast and the Furious 70 Dodge Charger of all things? I mean, it's a very nice conversion. Like, it would make you the most accurate Fast and the Furious Charger you're ever going to come across. But it's very odd. I mean, the Tucker was an odd choice. I guess you only made 49 of those things to begin with. But it's a very, very well done, excruciating detail. But it's just an odd thing for some guy in the Ukraine to decide to make.
So that's what I love about our hobby, that, no matter how obscure it is, there's somebody somewhere that has done a really good version of it.
Because he joined the Model Cars magazine forum, so he's immediately pounced upon by every gray hair within 500 miles of the closest international airport, and they're all, and it's and I don't mean to poke fun at people because somebody's going to listen to this 2 years from now and be like, that guy's an asshole. But it's just, they were suggesting, it's just like when they suggest model kit suggestions, it's the most obscure stuff in the world. Like, dude, the guy's got to sell at least 50 of these things. Like, you're not going to buy any of them because they're too expensive. I can already hear the complaining, but it's like, oh, we should make this. I've never even seen a picture of that before. I don't even know what that is, but we're going to sink months of research. I mean, I guess it's sort of like the PZY guys. If you send them $5,000, they'll make a resin kit of anything you want. But it's, in the meantime, like, just suggesting things. And he was even like trying to be diplomatic about it, in English as a second language way of like, I have projects that I'm considering, and appreciate your suggestions. Pound sand. Man, if we really had this obscure car from 1958, then the world would be complete. I'm sure it would be. I get having obsessions about certain cars, but even small things like that, you gotta have a market for it.
Speaking of interesting obsessions, have you seen that there's a guy on Facebook and he's been working on this forever, right? He's building a really, really amazingly detailed CAD model of a 72 Pontiac Le Mans.
Yes.
Have you
He's
seen
been
that?
building it for years. Yeah.
Yeah. It is like
every nut and bolt.
Oh my God. It is amazing. And every once in a while he'll post progress of it, the firewall, like, and just like, it's really cool. And it's like, that's a very obscure kind of mundane.
And he's doing it in 12th scale too. Right.
Yeah. I'm guessing he has one in his possession, a real one as a reference, and he's just replicating it in perfect detail. But it's been fascinating to watch his progression of that.
Right. He must be building it from scratch.
I won't be able to find a picture of it fast enough, but the guy at the Nationals had, I think it was 1/32nd scale cross section of the USS Enterprise, the old one, like the World War II version of it. It was, nobody's gonna be able to see my hands, and even through the camera, so I could be right. But the thing was about 3 feet wide and about 9 feet tall. And he had built it deck by deck by deck. It had airplanes inside of it and everything, like 1/32nd scale aircraft inside this, inside the skeleton of this thing. It took him 25 years to build this model. And I hadn't heard that part of the story until recently, that it was 25 years. But it made me think about, like, talking to Randy last episode, where it's like, everything's a model and this, that, and I think, like, over the course of 25 years, like, don't you have to start over the stuff you did, like, in year one? Like, it sucks now because it's 25 years later, your skills are so much better. Like, that seems like that's a perpetual motion machine where you're never going to finish it because everything would always be just a little bit better as you worked on it. But I mean, that's a labor of love, if anything. To build something is just say 3 feet wide as far as like the profile. It was probably another 4 feet wide on the side, on the square, and then it was like 9 feet tall because we had the coning tower and the antenna all the way to the antennas at the top. And it was huge.
And transporting it.
Yeah, exactly. I think he was local-ish to Wisconsin, so that wasn't that big of a deal. But like a gentleman named Bobo Young won Best of Show with this giant Federation. It's Foundation is the TV series, this transport ship. And the thing looks like a scythe, like the blade of a scythe is in that shape. And it's a good 6 feet tall off the base of the display. And he flew there from like California with it. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's a sci-fi ship. It shouldn't win Best of Show. Like, that model is 3D printed. And it's a model, like it was in pieces. And that thing is so crazy. It's one of those things that, like, every time you walk past it, you saw something and you'd stop and you'd go back and you're like, what am I looking at? Oh, that thing was as a 40-minute episode of Adam Savage Tested about that model.
Wow.
They caught him at Wonderfest down in Kentucky with it, and they did a 42-minute episode it's on YouTube if anybody wants to watch it. But like, that's model building. Like, and people, of course, did the whole thing like it's 3D printed. It's not really. You should have scratch built it. I'm like, yeah, okay. If it's so easy, you go ahead and do it, and let us see the end results of your build. You know. And I know it's not like traditional. It's sci-fi, but he won Best of Show with a Blockade Runner, which is it's like a Star Wars ship. That again, it was 9 feet long. It's a huge thing, and it's all 3D printed. He did all the designs. So I mean, it's not scratch building with your hands, but it's scratch building with CAD.
Yeah, I'm always really impressed by people that build that are dedicated to building something that either that large of a scale or just that immensity of detail. I have a hard time putting 40 hours into anything, let alone 40 days.
Yeah. I got his thing up here, but I'm trying to see if I can find a picture.
Tim says that Babel Young won Best of Show.
Yes, he did. As he won with ESA. That's what I was talking about. But Babel, however you want. I think it's closer to. Oops, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to share screen with Facebook again. There. This right here. This is what.
Holy cow!
And like I said, it's on a base, and then this from this base to the top of it, it's another good 6 feet. And it's one of those things where, like, as you look at it, like there's people in the windows, and it took him 2 years to build this thing. Now this I think is one. I guess it's Wonderfest where this picture was taken, but yeah, he won Best Sci-Fi obviously, and then he won Best of Show. And let's see if he's got more. I gave like all this. It's like all this. Every section of this is its own little piece, and all like you could sit here and tell me this isn't model building, but it's model building. Oops, there you go. Here he is right here with it. That's the Best of Show plaques and stuff. So
wow, good for him.
Yeah, it was something to see. Like the car stuff is like it was right up behind his back in that picture. And so you had to walk past it every time you came back out of the car. Models, like I said, every single time, it's like, what the hell is that? It was incredible. But it wasn't an airplane, so people were grouchy. But yeah, that was a good one. Let's see. You know what? It's time to make Mr. Tester giggle. That's what it's time. And the way we do that. By showing him the model kits that are coming out this month.
Oh boy!
If I can get this to work, because it's always a trick as to whether or not this is going to function or not. All right, so first up, and this kit's already out on the street as well, and this is finally right. We've been talking about this Corvette for it seems like ever since the cows came home, basically, and we're actually using if John sees this. We're actually using Mr. John Brolin's picture here because he has the best one of these pictures I could find. And yeah, so new tooling, we've talked about it a gajillion times. Won't go into it 1,000 times. But yes, in your local hobby shops now, you should be able to pick up the 2022 Corvette Stingray in the coupe form. The convertible, some point down the road, but I don't know exactly when, but probably in the next month or two. But
I don't hate it. It's I guess I'll wait for the convertible to come out.
Favors.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
I've seen the parts laid out at the Revell booth. I mean, it looks like a super nice kit. I'm sure. I've never been a fan of the C8 Corvette design. I think I've said this before. I'm sort of a C8 hater because the engine is in the wrong end. To me, that's what it is. But I think the kit is really cool. I actually do sort of like the Z06 version of this. I don't know. I think it's just more a sexier looking body, with the the wider wheels and the bigger wings on it. I think it looks. I don't. I just think it looks. There's something about the base model Corvettes. They have kind of small, narrow tires, and they feel kind of wimpy to me. But I think the kit's super nice. I would probably pick one up and figure out how to do something interesting with it, but I don't
Put
really
some
want.
lower profile tires on it, maybe bigger wheels.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I would do.
Cut this frunk open and put a Hemi in it, right?
Yeah. The odd thing about the Corvette design that I just don't there's a wish my mouse could point. There's a huge amount, like right where your mouse pointer is, there's a huge amount of gap or space between the headlight and the grill. And it feels like the headlight should have came down farther. I'm being very nitpicky about design, but and I'm sure there's some functional reason why it doesn't, but it just seems like the headlights is way back on the
fender. Okay, I gotcha.
and it's sort of an odd design to me.
It just seems to me the way this box art is drawn that it feels like somebody pulled this corner up. Like it looks like it's shorter on this side than it is on this side, and then it's an odd like windshield frame to fender ratio. Like it feels almost like the whole front end sort of been cocked to the side in the attempt to make it a 3/4 profile without putting the whole car into a 3/4. It's just so weird. That box art just doesn't do any favors to the car at all. And you only get this one set of wheels in it too. Like the display always had 2 sets of wheels with it, but I guess the set of wheels only in the convertible. But yeah, all right.
Okay.
I'll deal with that. They're not the greatest set of wheels. Like the other set of wheels better. I'm really not a big fan of the fact that every Corvette is a Targa in this new one, but I didn't design the car. Can't fix that. Let's see here.
You'll just glue the hood on anyways, or the top on anyways.
I don't know. That's one of those things where I'd leave it off. Leave it loose. That way you can take it on, put it off. But all right. So over Aoshima, I think this is one that we're all going to pile right into. The factory stock DeLorean. So yippee-ki-yay, so-sos. This was, I think, pretty obvious from the original tooling because all of the wiring and all the stuff for the Back to the Future stuff was separate. And this will be your first actual factory stock DeLorean kit ever made, which is sort of like a Tucker in the sense that they didn't really make that many of them before Mr. DeLorean had his run-in with the DEA, but something I've always wanted. Exactly something I've always wanted, just because I thought the car was, modestly cool. I think that might be Back to the Future affected, but I'll buy one.
Yeah, it'd be a fun, interesting modeling challenge to figure out if you could try to replicate that stainless steel look.
Yeah, I'm painting mine black, gloss black.
I knew that James had a plan for his that included not making brushed aluminum or brushed stainless.
How would you guys try to replicate that?
I don't know.
Probably metallizers is what I would do it with.
I'm wondering if because I've done this before. I've actually sanded bare metal foil while it was still on the sheet, and then so you get a sort of a grained finish to it, and then just bare metal foil the body. And I think
that would be tough. I think that'd be really tough to bare metal foil that.
Yeah,
just getting it all flat without any creases.
I wouldn't be so concerned about the color because there's a variety of stainless steel paints out there that make really nice bare metal finishes. It's the texture that car had. That's the problem.
Grain to it, the sanded grain. Yeah, that'd be a fun modeling challenge to try to pull it off, make it look right.
Well, whenever they make a model of the Cybertruck, we'll get them side by side. And I really don't have anything to do with the Cybertruck. I just think it's goofy that it's brushed metal like that. Moving on. Oh, yes. I actually got to pull some reference on this because I can't remember what this is called and I don't read Japanese. What is this? Do you remember what this series is? You're Captain Japan.
No.
All right, so
No.
this is the Machine X, and this is the is it, all right, it's Seibu. Is that Seibu or Cebu?
Seibu.
Seibu. Yes, it's Seibu, and then the second word is Keisatsu. So I believe it'd be. I've always pronounced it as being Seibu Kiatsu, but that may be wrong. But at any rate, this is the 45th anniversary of the TV show. First aired in 1979. It is a crime drama, sort of stylized.
Makiko watches that. I know exactly what it is. There's an old guy and a young guy.
Yeah, it's kind of a buddy cop show. But yeah, so this is the hero car, which based in 79, same body style as the 82, and I think it's an 82 underneath roll. But this is the 79 Nissan Skyline. It's just chock full of goodness here in terms of like period police equipment, because it really is the stuff they would have used in Japan at the time. This big goofy spotlight and the old Kojak light on top, and then then if it wasn't that wasn't good enough, this has always been one of my favorite versions of this car. Their boss drove this thing. This is the Super Z. Obviously, it's a 280 Fairlady with gull-wing doors, machine guns mounted in the front fenders, and again the requisite bubble light. Both of the kits are old Aoshima. I think this one actually is an IMA tooling, so they're kind of god awful model kits in terms of the actual model kit. But for conversation piece, I mean, you will be the only one on your block with a gull-wing machine gun 280SX or a 280CX, that's for sure. Or technically a Fairlady Z, because this is going to be right-hand drive only. But yeah, so it's the 45th anniversary of Seibu Kiatsu, and so there's going to be several of these coming over the course of the summer, because like any good anniversary, we need to milk it for everything it's worth. And there was a bunch of these done. This is not a new thing that they're doing. This is not new tooling. These have existed for the longest, probably since 1979, 1980s era, actually. And so this is just a reissue with the anniversary. We mentioned that already. Next up, the other unique Aoshima piece this month is this Honda Step Wagon. This is a Modelo body kit on here. Like a lot of the Aoshima stuff of this time period, you can only build it like the way it comes in the box. There is a factory stock, and it has been reissued since 2001. There's a factory stock version of this Step Wagon. It's always one of those things that, like, if I didn't have 1,330 other model kits to collect, I'd grab that off of Buyee. But I mean, it's pretty cool for what it is. It's not the only Step Wagon that exists in terms
of
a
minivan.
Yeah, it's like a little mid-sized minivan. It's like it's not a K car, but it's not a full-size van either. So
right.
it's a little smaller than a minivan, because the Odyssey would have been the minivan size. So this is
right.
like a step below that. But yeah, whatever. But still fun. Back over at the world of pain that is Fujimi. This monstrosity is a Y30 Nissan Cedric. Or no, excuse me, it's a Nissan Gloria, isn't it? Oh, no, let's see. I see Cedric, I see Gloria. Oh, we can build it both ways. Hallelujah. So, yeah, I think this is an 83 as far as the actual year would go. These Recaro decals, the Recaro decals worth the price of admission, if nothing else. And hey, you know what? I know that I didn't download like the bigger pictures, but at least these wheels match the box art, so we're not that. But yeah, this chassis tree is the same chassis tree we've been talking about for like 17 episodes now. It's being underneath every Fujimi kit, so yeah, it's underneath that one too.
So James, when you buy the kit, can I have the Recaro decals?
I'm not buying that kit, but you certainly try to get a set off somebody else. A set of decals I would like to have would be for this R30 Skyline, because this is one of the first Japanese touring car cars that existed. And this goes way back history-wise in terms of just Nissan's factory racing team. The 22 and 23, they stayed with Nissan all through the years. To this day, Nissan Super GT cars still run 22 and 23. But this kit is awful. I want 2 sets of this decal, so if some point Aoshima ever reissues their R30, which is moderately better than this one, at least it's a race car, I could put them on that. But yeah, because again,
Look at that. It's like 45 pieces of garbage.
This is the same chassis that we just talked about in that last kit. We've been talking about for 7 months now. And these wheels obviously don't match those wheels. And everything about this is awful. But I want this 2 sheets of this decal set. Oh, heck. It's just
now we're talking. That's better.
This is moderately better in the sense that at least it's not old. Like it's a 90s era Toyota Mark II. Now, the special features here are it's got this big goofy GT3 style wing on the back and a set of rims off Z-Tune, or not a Z-Tune, excuse me, but what is the, I'm trying to see my collection from here. What do we call this? It's the V-Spec. Instead of V-Spec R34 GTR wheels. The only R34 GTR that Fujibi makes is a snap tight kit, so yeah. I guess maybe they probably have a set of these floating around in their wheel sets, but
I suppose if you squint, kind of squint at that car, it looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
But then when you zoom in on it, it's too many doors.
Too many doors. I mean, these aren't bad kits. They're very basic. They're like 50, 60 pieces. They're catalog specification. If that was, we're looking at a dictionary, this is what the definition of it would be. As basic a curbside as you could put out. But yeah, we threw some rims and a wing in, yo. So back, let's see, Hasegawa here. We're getting a 2000 Rally San Remo. I love the fact that this is a European Mitsubishi Lancer. So in Europe, they were sold as the Charisma GT. Little known fact, why they weren't Lancers in Europe, I don't know. But yes, the Charisma GTs overseas Europe market. It's an Evo 6 independent team. I can't remember where this finished in San Remo, but it wasn't winning cars. It's just another, we're throwing some decals in a box job by Hasegawa. Speaking of throwing decals in a box.
Oh dear.
Let me get my material out so we can properly read what this is, because I know that people will be in the audience will be upset. They'll be all like, "How could you not treat? How could you not treat the Time Boken Series Yetterman?" And those are the Yetterman right there. Yeah, so another one of these Type 2 vans that has a bunch of decals thrown in it. I don't know if Hasegawa has some sort of perpetual license with Volkswagen that requires them to produce like one of these a quarter, and so we just have to desperately go after something. But hey, you get a little placard of them hanging out here. Next up, I think technically this is a KA models kit. And that means Academy did the tooling on it. This is a Mazda Familia. I think it's 82, 83, something like that. It's a very teeny tiny little car. Academy already released this as the Kia Brisla, which was the like rebadged knockdown version that Kia got in South Korea. These kits that Academy has been doing that are branded as Mazdas, this is like the second or third one of these they've done in conjunction with KA. They're really nice model kits. I mean, they build up really well. They're curbside, obviously. Unfortunately, it's molded in red, which I know is everyone's least favorite thing to get a body molded in.
Yeah. Well, yellow's worse, but or orange.
Yeah. I mean, props to the guy for painting this baby puke green tan thing over top of that red. But, it's, if you're into small, obscure, weird Japanese things, this is a very small, weird Japanese thing. I am buying one because it is a weird
I
small
like it.
Japanese.
I like it, but I don't know if I'll buy it.
I'm very tempted to buy the Kia version too, just because there's only so many Kia. I think that might be the only Kia model in existence at this point.
Hmm.
Academy's done a few Hyundais over the course of time. Whoops, I just shut that off.
Right.
Oops, I didn't mean to close that window. I meant to.
Yeah, we need more Kia models.
You have a Kia. I forgot about that.
So
yeah, I've actually owned 2 real Kias, and I like them. I wish I would actually build a Kia model.
I'd say I have a Kia Stinger as we sit here and speak. I'd love a Kia Stinger model.
I know, right?
I love a Kia Stinger 3D print. I can't even find one of those. So over at Salvino's JR this month, your historical kit or hysterical kit, your choice. Bobby Isaac 71 Dodge Chargers. This is a new licensing for Bobby Isaac. They were sitting here waiting, doing a dance, trying to figure out who the hell owned K&K Insurance at this point. Actually, it's very it still technically exists as a company. It's underneath Aon Insurance out of Hong Kong. But at any rate, flat hooded Dodge Charger. I mean, there's not much to talk about decal wise here. It barely looks like they even bothered to put anything on the side of the car. But this will be a long-standing sort of franchise within Salvino's JR because with the Bobby Isaac licensing, he was obviously the Dodge driver of record through the years. Won a couple of NASCAR championships in there, so that'll be more to come. First, that's sort of the first attempt, if you will. And then we get more Camaros because we can't have any nice things this year. Kyle Larson's Terry Labonte throwback.
I was going to say, it kind of looks like the Cornflakes car.
Yeah, exactly. So there's that. And then we're going back a year because we got to make something. 2023 Ford Mustangs, Ryan Blaney's Talladega winner. Previously, I don't think anybody's ever done this set of decals. So there's that. Get out your chartreuse, get the painting. This kit already out. I have it sitting behind me here. This is the brand new Tool Nissan Silvia, and as we say in every monthly video, S110 early version hardtop 2000 ZZEX 1979 because every single square foot of that box header has to be filled with a letter or a number. That's good joking about it forever, but for like 8 years I've been on YouTube. This every word up here thing that's on the box art has never changed. Having it, like I said, in my hand, this is a really cool model in the terms of like the model aspect of it. I know it's not going to trip everybody's trigger on the subject matter, but yeah, it's very nice. It is something that
looks comfortable.
So we need to get Mr. Tester up here. I'm going to point at Mr. Tester with my mouse. We need to get Mr. Tester to buy just because it'll be fun. Oh, Sean, we need to get Sean to buy one of those. That looks like that to be something.
Yeah, I don't know what I do with it, but yeah, I mean, the overlanding version.
I will say, having, like I said, they've done this for the last couple of new toolkits they've done. Even though it's a curbside and you're just getting the bottom of the engine, they've separated it. For when they started sort of going through this cycle of ignoring what was their primary market of airplanes and doing car models and doing nothing but basically new tool car stuff for about the last 8-9 years now, you had a lot of their stuff coming that was new tools, still had the engine carved into the bottom of the chassis plate itself, which meant you were masking stuff off and doing all that goofy gyrations around it. The last couple of years worth of stuff, they've separated the engine off. And so, paint the area where the engine is black. So, because, it's a void, right? And then put the engine on top of it. It's just for ease of painting, if nothing else. I appreciate that.
So there'll probably be a middle and a late version too, right?
There will be at least a late version because that's going to be that, like the rally car version is the late version. I don't know if, obviously there's going to be a bunch of versions. There's some parts on the trees that are, do not use. I haven't really gone through the kit inch by inch to see what those would correspond to, but I assume, that's the way that they tend to do everything. Is that I'm sure there'll be a rally car version of this. We'll talk about the street car rally car version here in a second, and then I'm sure there'll be a couple more street versions. Then we'll throw some resin window louvers on it, and we'll throw a chin spoiler on it, and
chin spoiler, and
then
maybe
we'll throw a resin girl in with it. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember when these were sold in the United States. They were still Datsun at that point, right?
Yeah, they were a Datsun. What was it, 210 or something along those lines?
I was thinking 240 SX, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's what it would be. Well, let's see what. 240, yeah, 240. Because this is the other one that's coming out this month. This is the homologated rally version, but the street legal version of that. So this is still a Nissan. It's got the wheel on the right side of the car, at least. Would have been a Datsun 240. You're right, over here. A bunch of new parts to this to convert, that to this. Obviously, you get the wheel flares, wheel set, this mesh area here. Very interestingly, they've included the top of the engine in here because you can see it through the slats in the hood. Now the hoods are separate because obviously the hoods are slightly different. Like there's a stylized, divot, if you will, indentation trim piece here that on this car is our vents for the actual engine. So the hoods are separate, and that's another thing Hasegawa's been doing for a while. But like you made the top of the engine to see through this separate hood. Just make the whole engine. Just make it a full detail kit. Call it even.
I like the squared off wheel flares there.
Yeah,
the early days.
Yeah, they are very kind of thing going on there. But I mean, this will be very interesting in the sense that like this will be the first time that Hasegawa's had two versions of a brand new tool come out in like 1 month, because this came out the 2nd of August, and this will come out right at the end of the month. So Nissan, two-door Nissan, all the things, I guess. Moving on, we talked about this right at the beginning of the show. This is now out. 68 Mobius M100 Mercury pickup truck has, again, the new hubcaps, the new grille, and then the Mercury specific parts of the hood, the trim, and the tailgate. So, run out, kick the doors down, and buy yours today. I know that's not it, but all of a sudden I'm not scrolling anymore. Let's see.
Is that your artwork, Sean? I forget.
It is not. No.
Oh.
Okay.
Sean does not want that claim to his name.
I was mistakenly calling that a 67 earlier too. I realized that now that's a 68.
All right, let's see. Let me get it back up and running here. Oh, Mr. Tamiya just sort of caused us to have an issue there. So this also out on the streets, both in Japan, which came out a few days ago, and it's been out in the United States since the end of last month, actually. The street custom version of the Nissan Fairlane 240Z. This does, of course, come with the left-hand drive parts and everything else to make it a Datsun 240Z. And wheel wells, or wheel arches, I should say. New front end because it doesn't have the ZG extended composite nose. It's got the Watanabes in it, obviously. It's got the individual throttle bodies with turn metal inlets for the engine, which were not in the last kit either. And yeah. Fat Frog Models, which is the Hong Kong, it's Hobby Easy. It's their in-house brand. Has made, and I just bought one because I just bought one of those Porsches about an hour before the show started. They've made a $4. I think I sent this to James. They made a $4 resin printed grill for this, and it's mesh, so it's see-through, for lack of a better term. And this is a solid piece of plastic in the kit. I'm sure the file exists.
Disappointing.
I'm sure
really
the file
disappointing.
I'm sure the file exists in real out there in the 3D cults land to print that yourself, but for $4.98, I couldn't be bothered to even care. I just bought the 3D printed one instead. So
right,
I'm sure Hobby Design
I so want to build that one
as well. Did
I
you
so
get
want
one
to build
through Hobby
that
Link
one
Japan,
more than the ZG? I haven't ordered it yet. But I still want that one more than the ZG front end.
I like that a lot too. I would build one of those. Maybe we should do a build off on that kit. Maybe the three of us get that kit and we'll all do our own versions of it.
Two of us will build it.
Don't pick on Sean like that. Like I said, I'm sure Hobby Design will do something for this eventually. If it's anything like the ZG kit, it won't be worth the money, which is not a slam at Hobby Design, but it's just like there's only so many three-dimensional things you can make out of one-dimensional photo etch and think it looks better. So this
right.
To me has always been pretty good. I will say, just historically through to me as kids, like their brakes are usually pretty good. Like you don't really need a set of PE brake faces. They've usually got a good cross drill or whatever on the brakes that if you paint it with a good metallic paint, you're good.
That car wouldn't have cross drill brakes anyways. It would be, flat.
It's a street custom. It could have any brakes on it you want. Could be a set of Brumbos on there. You don't know.
Carbon brakes, right?
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. All right, over round 2, this month's stuff. The Dodge Dart Chrysler kit car. I believe this is technically a different model than the Plymouth kit car.
Okay.
It is a different front clip. I think the chassis stuff is different.
Yeah, I think you're right. But it's in this green. Apparently, is a throwback to the original box art of some sort. I never had any interest in this, even in my NASCAR interest. This was a little bit too obscure into the into the weirdness for me. I know it's a real thing. It was a real legitimate Chrysler kit car thing they sold, but yeah, it's back out there if you're interested. This is a reissue of the Muller era 66 Riviera GS. Don't be fooled with the fancy pants retro box art. This is the 90s era kit with pad printed tires in it, which I don't believe the kits had the last couple times. New decal sheet, retro style boxing. I think sometimes their desire to be retro all the things is kind of disadvantageous to them at times, because you're going to look at this, right. It's got that 1960s box art to it. They do have old Riviera's tooling still floating around. What is that, the 68, 69? That's still the old tooling. And this, you're gonna look at this and go like, oh, old curbside, old whatever, and it's like, no, actually this is brand new.
No, that's a great kit. I built it a long time ago.
I have one somewhere, yeah, because I sort of skipped over it a while when it came out originally, because I thought it was an older kit, and then somebody was like, no, that was a brand new tool back then. I was like, oh, all right. I have an original one. And this is one of those things where I might sell the original one to get this one to get new decals, because like the original one was that of that era where it had like a license plate, and that was it.
You had 2 license plates, right?
You
that were undersized.
Yeah, you get you get your decal sheet, and it was smaller than a book of stamps. I'm like, oh, no gauge cluster in this.
That's back when we detailed out those gauges by hand.
That's right.
With the wash.
Walked uphill both ways with white dry brushing. And then I think, is this one of yours, Sean?
It is not. It's the only one of the series that I didn't do.
You could tell because it stinks, right? Oh, we won't say that. Anyway, so 60 Chevy Apache pickup customs cruiser. For people who don't remember, again, this is another one of those B-side kits. The 70 got reissued with a go-kart a few years back as the factory stock. There's this custom version. The custom version only has the custom parts in the custom version. You cannot technically build the factory stock version out of the custom version, so you're stuck with whatever comes in here. I know like the grill is different. I think there's a different set of wheels in here, and like that's the custom of the customness to this, but it's a basis. It's well, like there was what I'm trying to think which one of those there was that had like 1 or 2 different pieces, and that was it. There's a couple of them that are. I think the 57.
James, Could you zoom in on the heartbeats on the nostrils?
Right, those are very 90s era.
Sorry, Michael.
Yeah.
Can't jump over that today.
Heartbeat of a man. This one has flame wheels too, I believe.
Yeah, you're right. That's
Oh yeah, Boyd Coddington's right. I'm not going to make fun of it. It's not a bad looking truck.
no, not at all. I mean, but it's just, if you're going into it thinking like it's going to be some crazy, period custom, nah, that's going to be a grill and a set of rims. Like, it would have been better if they'd done this back here. Now I realize this is a Revell kit because this is looks like it's a 64, but like bag that thing down, that would have been made a custom out of it. This is just a few extra parts added for your excitement. And oh wait, hang on, there was one more. Gosh dang it, I thought we were done.
But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's an Indy car. So you're gonna get this Scott Dixon car. I'm half tempted to buy this because my family banks with PNC Bank, but
there's another reason to buy a model kit, right?
Well, I mean, like I have the Allied Financial cars because I have my car note from my Stingers through Allied Financial, but yeah, not $90 worth of caring about the fact that's PNC Bank, but yeah. So there's another Indy car coming.
I'm happy for the IndyCar people that really needed some love in this hobby, because that's awesome that they have kits on the shelf nowadays. But yeah, for the rest of us, that's just too much money for that.
Yeah, I don't know that any of them are gonna, pluck my magic twanger, as it were, to make me spend the money that those cost. Not because I think they cost too much. I think they're priced right. They're where to me as F1 kits were back when Tamiya, still did F1 cars. So they're not, and they're 1/20th scale. They're the right scale and everything. But
right.
I don't care enough about IndyCar. Even with them pushing it so hard of like, oh, let's talk about the races and stuff like that. It's like, Indianapolis 500, and then I don't think anybody else cares about anything else. Like, I know there's the core constituent of IndyCar fans that are going to watch every race on every weekend and stuff like that. But for the vast majority, it's 1 week a year in May, and that's it.
Yeah, I've never been much of an open wheel car fan, so it doesn't really tweak my interest. Nice kits though. I mean, I've looked at the pictures of them. They look like
Yeah. A guy in my club is building one of them. He's actually he does a lot of 3D design, so he's printing his own parts, his own better parts for it. It's going to be really nice when he's finished.
And I think the only other sort of thing to expect in August that isn't, I didn't show pictures of because technically they're not officially official yet, is that I think because everybody seems to be pre-ordering now, I think all 3 of the 65 Mopar kits are coming out before the end of the month.
Okay.
The Mobius ones you're talking about?
Yeah, the Mobius ones.
Yeah, I believe, I don't know if it's the end of the month or not, but I mean, I know all the work is done and it's over, and I don't know the schedule of when the kits are actually getting run and when they'll be shipped, but I know that it's over in their hands at this point, I think. So it's sooner rather than later. Certainly before the end of the year. I feel safe enough to say you'll probably see them before the end of the year.
I never built the Plymouth. I should build the Plymouth.
The Plymouth's nice, yeah. I mean, they're all nice kits.
I think the thing that stopped me from building the Plymouth was that that you have to mask the 2 colors, and it's not squared; it's rounded on the corners. And I think that just that little thing of rounding a mask so that it matches on both sides and all 4. Right. Yeah, I think that choked me up.
Yeah,
The only thing stopping me.
you're talking about the altered wheelbase one with the bronze
Yep.
job,
And white.
bronze and
Yep.
white. Yeah, yeah, it's a tricky little masking task to try to get that right. I've not built that particular one. I built the Melrose Missile one, which also has some
Okay.
complicated masking, but nice kits.
Say they're taking a page out of Hasegawa, or Hasegawa's taking a page out of their book. One of the two. The two kits that I got out of them this shipment, both with incredibly complex compound curve masking, or one of them has a stripe that comes down and makes a U-turn on the hood and goes back up. Yeah, not a mask in that kit, not an edge decal, nothing. It's all freehand. Good luck, Godspeed, have a good day.
Yeah.
Like, oh, come on.
I like to say that I'm pretty good at decals, but pinstripe decals I cannot do. I just can't get them to lay straight. Maybe I just play with them too much and really screw them up.
Just put them down. Leave them alone.
Yeah, they can be pretty unforgiving depending on.
Yes, Steve says masking is easy. Yeah, for you lowrider guys, I tip my hat to you guys.
Yeah, you have plenty of practice, Steve. The rest of us are just fumbling around in the dark.
Right. Another funny thing when you were talking about the pickup truck with the decal sheet with the two license plates and the I love model cars bumper sticker.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Well, hang on. Let's see here.
Yeah, that was around two. Not round. That would have been RC2, right? Era.
Right.
Yeah. That was a staple in all these kits.
Have it. An original issue, 65 Buick.
Yeah, I thought that they put original in the original box that it was just a picture of the real car, and I think I actually built mine. When I built it in that same gray.
Your decal sheet. Back in, let's see here, when was this?
Had to have been 95, 96.
This kit was released in, it's red on,
yeah.
It's red on black printing on red box here. 90, crap, I still can't read what that says. Don't get old, folks, it sucks. 2000. But yeah, so this is, make sure I'm holding it right side up. This is your decal sheet. It's 3 sets of license plates. The air cleaner, whatever the hell that little teeny thing is between the license plates, and I think that's like the radiator warning.
No, I love model cars bumper sticker.
No, I love model cars bumper sticker, and this looks like it's Montana, Mississippi, and Texas as far as the license plates go.
That was a relatively bold choice for an all-new model kit too. I can't imagine that that was at the top of a lot of model car builders' wish lists. But I mean, it's it. I mean, there's nothing.
Yeah, it's the same thing as a lot of the ones were at that time. It's hard to see there, but like the frame, the X frame, and the chassis itself are separate.
Yeah, it's nice. So you can paint that black and yeah.
Now I want to go look around on the Auto World site and see what the decals are supposed to be.
The new one, right?
Yeah, exactly. Still no Boto Riviera though.
You know, that is kind of a kit that they've never done.
Try to do that right now.
Yeah, I always like those boat tail riffs too. I think those things are pretty cool looking. I would have rather they had done that one like a 71 than the 66.
What other Buicks did they do in the Mueller era? I know they did another Buick with a big red air cleaner. I can't remember what year it was.
Well, the tooling for the
Maybe
69
a Wildcat.
still exists. That was the original AMT Riviera, and then the 66 Buick, the big full size
Is it
one.
the Wildcat?
Yeah, I think the Wildcat that still exists too.
So the Wildcat just got reissued not too terrible long
Right.
ago.
And then the 65 Riviera still exists too. Those are the only Buicks that I think, because the 66, it's not Skylark, but it's what's the GS?
Okay.
That one got changed into the short track car. And I think those are the only Buicks that ever had models of it that I can think of.
I'm not much of a Buick fan, but they're neat.
There is a lowrider version of the 66, so I'm sure we'll see that at some point.
Oh, right.
Say, Sean, get the sketching.
You can probably see it in front of a historic landmark drive-in theater of some sort.
I'm sitting here on scale mates trying to go look at like 1998, 1999 AMT releases. If they reissued the 66 442 convertible, I don't think they did yet. I think that's another
they just did the hard top.
Yeah. So there's a convertible version of that. They just released 99 was the custom 300C. They just released that. 99 was also the street machine version of the pickup. So that we just talked about. Lowrider Riv. So that's something they can still do. Let's see, but going back a year here to 98.
And they just reissued the 71 Charger. But the custom version, they've updated. It has the ram air hood from the custom version.
Right. Yeah. And the machine gun tips.
Right.
Yes.
But they left the wheels out, thank goodness.
Let's say 98 tooling was the El Camino, but that's been reissued a couple times. The convertible version of the Impala SS, which I don't think we've seen for a while. Wow.
Yeah, that 68 El Camino is a nice kit.
Yeah. I bought one of the Coke ones on fire sale at Walmart a couple years ago when they put those little corner displays up. Yeah, I think that's yeah. We go back another year. Time has passed, I've become the worst person in the world with like, oh yeah, that was like 15 years ago. No, that was like 30 years ago.
That was a little longer than that.
Yeah, sadly.
There's a street machine version of the Impala. I don't think the 67 Impala. I don't think they put that back out.
Right. Did they change the tooling when they made the Supernatural? Or
no, I believe
just retool another kit.
Yeah, it was a new body, and I think they put inserts in for the sedan interior.
Okay. I think they probably learned their lesson about changing kits forever.
So I know that was one of the big pains in the butt about doing the Supernatural was trying to make the new car fit the old tooling, because not even the very end of AMT stuff had CAD to it. So
right. I heard horror stories about that. The full bumper Camaro that when they try to do that, nothing was square and
Well, yeah, it's like the thing was they 3D scanned in the bumper for the full bumper, and then they made it to the original body, and the original body wasn't equidistant on the fenders. Whoops. Now, no one could ever tell you that it was crooked until then. I say 97 was the original issue of the Lowrider Monte Carlo too. So that.
oh, okay.
You start going back into the 90s here, and you go through the kits, and it starts becoming a lot, very, very much a lot of annuals. I'm seeing a lot of Blazers and Camaros and maybe C5 Corvettes or C4 Corvettes. Be interesting to see when and if any of this stuff those kits ever come back out. I mean, you're getting the what Flairside F-150 just came out. Some of those 90s kits are getting another go around.
Oh, like what was that splash one?
Yeah. They've never reissued any of the Rangers. They've never. I don't know that the Explorer would be enough enough of a care about that, but
yeah, some of those I think they don't have the tooling for anymore. I heard, or I believe that, well, like they had to retool the Chevy pickups because that tooling, they somehow didn't have possession of it, or it didn't exist anymore.
Yeah, some of the stuff that was based on the promos was done by somebody else, and
right.
then, so the annuals that followed onto it were also part of that.
Yeah. So that might be why they maybe can't do like the Ford Explorers and the Ranger.
Well, it's also a question of sales. Like,
well, true, yeah.
Yeah,
as people who are relatively young and remember the 90s well enough, like we could appreciate a Ranger Splash or a S10 Extreme, but does anybody else care?
Right.
Could you sell 5,000 of them if you had to?
Maybe not.
But then again, if you told me like 10 years ago that some of the obscure stuff that we have seen would be released, especially from even the Japanese companies,
right?
So you never know. Sean probably knows more than either one of us combined because he has secret backdoor knowledge of box art stuff. But and say people in the comments there, like, the S10 Extreme kits are pricey. Yeah, they are, because they're only run for 2 years and then they never seen again.
Oh, right, the Cyclone. I forgot about that one.
But Revell did reissue the Cyclone like 2012, 2014, something like that. That has seen, another run beyond the original one.
Right.
The only thing of that sort of three-part tooling of the S10, the S10 Wave Rider, whatever that goofy custom version was, and the Cyclone is that somewhere along the lines, Revell has lost the factory two-wheel drive suspension to that kit. That's why when it was reissued here a little while ago, it was that street custom or whatever it was, because it was like the stock S10 on the all-wheel drive Cyclone chassis. I don't know where that tooling went. Nobody seems to know where that tooling went. Ed Sexton can claim whatever he wants to because he doesn't have to tell anybody the truth because that doesn't work for Revell. But he's like, I don't know what happened to it. So,
I wonder if they'll ever reissue like the Ford Probes and the Dodge Stealths.
What the Chevy Beretta?
And
Beretta. There's a 90s tooling.
It probably will.
Eventually. I mean, everything eventually comes around, right? I guess. But I can remember when you could not give those kits away. They were, they were odd lots for 99 cents.
Well, the Dodge Stealth got modified because it was like the Stealth had like that little slight revision to it, like midway through the first gen, and AMT, did that to the kit. So I don't know that the original Stealth exists anymore.
Well, the probe went through an update too. I think the original '89 probe got turned into like a '91.
Yeah,
And then
I
they
had
put the IMSA fenders and stuff on it.
Yeah.
I had for the longest time. I finally got rid of it. One of the first issue, first gen probes that I won at the raffle at NNL up in Toledo, and that thing must have been somebody's like personal stash from AMT or something like that, because it came with 7 sets of instructions and all of them were in different languages. And like I've never I had one like that was one of those kits where like I got it and I was like, I already built one of these. Like I have a scar on my finger to this day from, let's see, I would have been like 13 when that kit came out originally, from trying to remember the probe had those great big pieces of dunnage to hold the roof up, because the glass was that one big piece of glass.
Right,
You had
right.
to saw, well, I'm a 13-year-old kid. I don't know a razor saw, so they're cutting it with a knife, and I shanked into my finger with an X-Acto blade. But like, so I had built that kit once, and then I got another one in my 20s up in Toledo, and I'm like, this is goofy, like ha ha ha. And like I said, it had 7 sets of instructions, and one in English, one in French, one in Mexican, and there was like French and Italian and some I think it was Korean maybe, or Japanese. It was like where did this come from? Like I did not have 7 sets of instructions in my original kit. The 454 SS that I had for the longest time had a photo etch license plate attached to it, because it was a giveaway kit at the Greater Salt Lake City Model Car Championship that year. That was somebody's personal stash that I don't know, did they pass away? Did they just like, I don't care that this has a bunch of stickers on it that say like GSL? I don't know what year, what number that would have been back in what, 96 or whatever, but yeah. It's an artifact in time. IMSA has a stock 89 and 91 cladding. And then say the probe, when it was updated, like all the cladding was separate. That's one of those, oh, let's try to glue all these body parts onto this body, and it's not gonna.
That's just like the real car.
Yeah, right. That's true.
They did do a 454 SS kit.
He says he says he wants another one.
Oh, okay.
Because the kit that they put out is not a 454 SS. It's just like a short bend.
Oh, right.
It's got the 454 style SS wheels in it, but it's not technically. Technically, it's not. It's like that. I don't think it's come out yet, but it's coming soon. Is that the reissue of the Dodge Daytona, the old MPC, the 80s Dodge Daytona?
Oh! I was thinking one with a big wing, but yeah, you're right. They're going to come out with that Daytona again.
So that's a fun relic of the past, the captive import of the Mitsubishi Starion.
What was that show that had a turbo car in it? It's like a crime show or something. Is it Hunter?
Yeah, Hunter had the chick in Hunter drove a Dodge Daytona, because he drove that Dodge Monaco or Plymouth Fury, whichever it was, but she had that. I think it was green, wasn't it? Green. That's one of those internet movie database questions.
I think red.
Well, I don't remember that.
DD, yes, had a Turbo Z. JK says.
Oh yeah.
DD had a Turbo Z and then a Shelby Z.
Okay, so the car, yeah, all right, yeah, sure does.
Two-tone red and then solid red. Little bit of little bit of trivia. My daughter, who's now in her 30s, her first car, I got her a Shelby Daytona, and it was a stick shift. So it was a 5-speed Shelby Daytona, and she took one look at it and she cried because it just wasn't, it wasn't girly, and I'm like, but it's a Shelby, it's a turbo car. She's like, I hate it. And we sold it and bought her a laser, a Plymouth Laser instead. But yeah, we ended up, just basically selling the Shelby for, what we paid for it or something. But yeah, that would have been. And then my son, as he's growing up, he's like, Dad, I wish you would have kept that car for me. It was a Shelby.
I have a real good friend who loves these things and has had at least 3 of them, including like there's a rare Shelby. Is it something?
There's an IROC.
Yeah, he's had the IROC version. There's something like a variable turbo nozzle VNT one. I guess they made only a handful of them, and he had one of those, and it's like all white or something. And he would bring it to this was back in my autocross days. He used to bring that to the autocross, and we would autocross, and it was actually pretty quick.
Right.
On car.
Right. Spool up that turbo.
Yeah.
There she is. Oh, right.
Yeah. I remember these cars being, kind of cool back in the day.
Yeah.
There's definitely a following for them, even today.
Right. I think the civilian version later on in years had like a 3-liter or something, 6-cylinder.
Well, when I got up this morning, I did not think we'd be discussing the TV show Hunter.
And you're right, Tim. The Goes Like Hell. Yeah, those are something else, man. So, James, you want to announce next week's guest?
So next week,
put you on the spot.
No. Well, let me see here. I do want to credit the guy's business correctly. So let me look this up here.
Okay. Not next week. Next episode.
Next episode on the 26th of August, 2 weeks from today, will be Steve Perry. Now, Steve Perry is a Detroit area builder, very, very talented. Won won first place in motorcycles, as well as straight line drag at IPMS Nationals. He runs as a business a company called Calnaga Castings, which is a resin, obviously, company that makes seems to be mostly like parts and stuff like that. It's just a wide variety of little resin bits and pieces, blowers and manifolds and power 4-wheel drive powertrains and stuff like that. It's not necessarily like, oh, he makes trans kits of it's all just sort of bits and pieces and things like that. So yeah, he's going to be our guest on there. I think it's probably one of those things that you guys know him, but don't realize you know him because, again,
probably
you guys go to those shows up that way, and I'm sure he probably comes down to Columbus and stuff like that. So we have some people in. Say Steve is cool. Let me see if I can grab this real quick. Remember what email it was in. He sent me the pictures. He sent me pictures of like you put business cards underneath the stuff. I'm like, yeah, I know, I was there. Let me see. Let me download these real quick.
So I think he'll be a good guest because he likes box stock as well.
No, different person.
No.
Box stock guy can't come on until next year. He's got a work schedule conflict. Steve's stuff is very much full detail. So he built this. I can't remember what this is supposed to be as far as the car. But like he built this. It's a Charger, I think.
Wow. Yeah.
It is one of those nostalgia stock or nostalgia funny cars. It's not a real car. It's not a real car in the sense of replicating a real thing. It's his take on that. But this, like it's ridiculous. Like when you start printing stuff on your belts, that's a little bit of next level. In fact, he's got plug for his own resin company on the side of here.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, this was very me. I'm a picky judge, and this won the category I judged. So that he did that, and then the thing that won, let's see, motorcycle. Whoops, wrong way. Is this?
Holy cow!
This dirt bike. This is like 98% scratch build.
Wow.
So
yeah, I'm looking forward to talking to him.
I say you guys would recognize I'm sure, because he was in Doug White did a model muse with him, with was it El Camino towing like a catamaran.
Oh, he's that guy. Okay, I've seen that episode of Model Muse. Yeah, neat.
So
very cool.
That will be
that should be good
next time. Next time around.
2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. I don't know what exactly this is a reference to, but that's gonna make me it's gonna make me giggle for the rest of the night, Tim. So I think that about wraps this one up, guys. Appreciate everyone tuning in and sitting through another episode of What Fujimi Kit Has the Same Chassis this month. Tune in next month for more of the same. And yeah, we'll be back in 2 weeks with Steve on here as a guest. And yeah, we'll see you guys on the other side.
Always a pleasure, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good night.